Hi guys, Michelle from Five Little Birds Refinishing. I thought I would do a fun little video today on painting with stain. So I picked up this antique piano stool a couple weeks ago, and I love these stools, but I couldn't decide what I was going to do with it. It's been a little gloomy here in Michigan lately. The last week it's been rainy and gray, and we're getting some sunshine next week, but I thought I needed a little sunshine, so I decided to do a sunflower on the seat, which I did a sunflower painting on a table for my brother about 6 months ago, and it turned out really cool. So I thought I'm going to do another one. I thought you guys might like a video to see how I do it. There's lots of videos out there, so with similar techniques and styles. This is just how I do it. So basically what I did was sand the stool down to raw wood after cleaning and prepping it. I left a lot of the scratches and dings just because I think they're cool and they show the age of the piece and kind of lend actually to the sunflower. So after I've done that, I go in and I do a rough sketch with pencil, real light, and then I just come back with stain, real light on the brush, kind of like dry brushing. You want to move my stain into view here. Again, I'm using Fusion Minerals. I'm using ebony this time because I wanted to have black stain for the flower. But I just lightly put my brush into it, really fine tip brush, and then draw really lightly for the initial flower onto the surface. And the piece is gonna suck up a lot of that stain because it's raw wood, so you kind of can't mess it up even if you do put a little too much stain. But I like to do it real light because I sometimes will change the direction maybe the petals are going or the way the seeds look in the middle. So anyways, just gonna go in here and just sketch out petals where I want them, and then we'll go back in and get started with the detail work. I'm doing the flower kind of off-centered, so it's here and then just a little bit here, but mostly along the outer edge, and it's gonna kind of spill over the edges on this side. And then once I'm done with the flower, I'm gonna go in and paint the legs. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do mustard yellow with a glaze or if I might just do ebony black. I'm probably leaning towards yellow, but we'll have to see once the painting's done. And you really can't go wrong with the sunflower. Just put the petals in wherever you feel they should go. I've always loved sunflowers, but when we went to pick up, actually no, it wasn't a pickup trip. When we went to meet my son for the first time in Bulgaria, he's adopted from Bulgaria, I was shocked. It's so beautiful, the mountains that surround the whole country and gorgeous fields of sunflowers everywhere you go. So you have mountains surrounded by beautiful yellow flowers. It's really, really cool. They use sunflower oil in all their cooking and food, so it was literally everywhere you went. So it was really, really gorgeous. So I'm going to take this one over the edge of the chair. So I've got the initial sketch all sketched out. This is where I'm going to go in and start some of the detail work. Again, I'm using brushes from Walmart because they're relatively inexpensive. If they get ruined, it's not a huge loss for me. I don't use these cheap brushes to do painting of my pieces, I use Stelmeister for that because those are, in my opinion, some of the best out there. They just don't leave brush strokes, which I don't want to see on my pieces. And so, okay, so I just go in. You can dip the brush into your stain. You can I pour it out onto just a paper plate, and I just go in and I start painting. Now I like to paint from an image, so I printed out just a small picture of a sunflower just to give me a visual to work from. And you just kind of go in. You're going to just start working the stain in, and the nice thing is you can really just blot it off and then take more off your brush and go lighter as you kind of blend it out into the surface more, so you can really create your shadowing effect and how you want it to look throughout the piece. You're going to hear my little guy in the background. He's 2 and playing in the fort I just built for him, so probably destroying the fort I just built him. Let's have the fun. Another nice reason to use these cheaper brushes is that you can, I like to kind of feather the stain in, which isn't great for the brush. So again, not a big loss if it gets ruined, whereas an expensive brush you wouldn't want to do that with. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here, and I'll definitely go back in and take pictures to show the process so you can see. But I thought this would be fun little video, because I know when I first tried it, I didn't know how the stain would work on the wood. Would it you know, all soak into one area and get saturated and not be able to blend back like you really want to be able to do with the painting? And I was surprised actually at how easy it truly is, because you can create those effects just by removing some of the stain from your brush or adding more, going over the area over and over. But you really want to do less is more. So I never saturate the brush with the stain, and if I do, I've got paper towel and a rag here to wipe back. And you can also use the rag on to wipe back on the wood, but to me that doesn't give enough control, and I really like to get the details, the fine details. So for me, stain on a rag is too uncontrolled. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm actually a lot of a perfectionist. So I just can't. It's too much for me to be sloppy. But it works for some people, and it's beautiful when they're done. But to me, I need a little more control. So just really kind of, maybe that's the beauty of painting, is you can try different techniques and different processes, I don't know how you say it, but you know what I'm saying, to see what works for you, because every painter is different and every artist is different. We all have our own way of what works for us, and that's the fun part. So I'm creating the inner part here, again, just kind of shading in with the brush. Let me do one of the petals for you, and then I'm gonna probably sign off the video here. I'm gonna go in with a more detailed brush, a smaller tip brush. We'll just do this petal here. So again, I'm just gonna draw in the details how I want them to be a little bit more detailed, obviously, because now I'm working on it more closely. And again, just going to kind of create the depth of the petals by creating shadows and angles. And you can go in dark and then move that stain before it really soaks in. You can move it and kind of blend with it. I'm going to take the stain off my brush so I can just work with this. Just move the stain. Really can't make any mistakes. You can always go back over it. So I'm always telling my 10-year-old loves to craft and draw, and sometimes she gets frustrated, and I get it because I'm a perfectionist too, but always trying to show her or teach her that accidents are just that. You can always fix them by changing things up, going back in different directions. Really, you're the only one that knows how you intend for it to look until it's done. So if it changes, that's okay. It's not. It took me a little while to learn that when I was younger. And as I work on this piece, not on the video, I'm gonna move around it. It's kind of nice that it's small and it's round. I can move it around without moving from this spot, but it'll allow me to get over it and see it from different angles. I'm not gonna do that right now while I'm recording. But you'll see very little stain on the brush, but enough to create the depth of the petal, and I'm gonna work my way around. Some will be lighter, some will be darker, and then once it's finished, I'll go in with the stain and stain all around the flower so that it really pops right out. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for joining in and watching the video. Thanks, guys.